Man, I'm built different, period. I'm just built different, man. And I've always had an eye, discipline, and a work ethic that I've had at a young age that I just apply it there.
Hey, everyone! It's me. And today we're going to be answering a very important question. Can water be destroyed? It's a simple question that has a fairly complex answer. So let's get into it. If you were to walk up to someone in the middle of the ocean and ask them this question, they would probably laugh at you and tell you to go take a long walk off a short pier. And they would be right. Water is everywhere and nowhere at the same time. As far as we can tell, it's an infinite resource. You could take all the water on Earth and spread it out evenly across the surface, and every square inch of Earth would still be covered in water. There would just be less of it overall. So, can water be destroyed? Well, yes, but only if you use the word destroyed very loosely. If you were to take a glass of water and evaporate it until not a single molecule of water remains, then yes, you have technically destroyed that particular glass of water. But there is still countless glasses of water all around you, and none of those glasses of water were destroyed. They just lost their shape. Think of it like this. Is the Great Wall of China destroyed when a rock breaks off and tumbles down its crumbling battlements? No, of course not. The Great Wall of China is still standing, even though millions of rocks have broken off of it over the centuries. The same is true of water. It can change states. It can evaporate. It can become part of something else. But it will always be water. Even the most basic forms of life, like bacteria, are largely made up of water. And when that bacteria eventually dies, the water that was a part of it will simply become part of something else. Nothing was created and nothing was destroyed. Water is all around us, literally inside of us. In fact, if you wanted to separate the water from everything else in your body, you would end up with about 55 gallons of water. But where did all that water come from? It didn't just appear out of thin air. The Earth didn't magically produce 55 gallons of water just for you. That water came from elsewhere. You gained that water by drinking it, which means that at one point you were part of the same system that produced that water. So why can't you destroy it? Because the water that's in you now was once in the ocean, and the ocean is eternal. Or maybe it isn't. Maybe you think the ocean is endless, but there's actually a finite amount of water on Earth. But it's never disappearing. Where does it go when it evaporates? Does it just vanish into thin air? Actually, no. Water vapor is the primary greenhouse gas in Earth's atmosphere. When it reaches high enough concentrations, water vapor can trap heat in Earth's lower atmosphere. This allows our planet to maintain a habitable temperature despite the fact that it's mostly made up of rock, a poor conductor of heat. Without water vapor, the Earth would be an ice cube, and all life as we know it would cease to exist. But if water is so vital to life, why do people think it's being destroyed? It's because they're looking at it the wrong way. Consider this. Every drop of water on Earth has been around for billions of years. This includes the water that's in you. Some of the water that makes up your body is literally older than the dinosaur. But that doesn't mean that the water hasn't changed. You see, water can be destroyed in the sense that it can combine with other elements and molecules to form new compounds. For example, when water evaporates from the ocean, it eventually reaches a point where it condenses into clouds. Once the water droplets in the clouds reach a certain size, they become heavy enough to fall back to Earth as rain, or snow, or sleet, or hail. When that happens, some of the water will run off into rivers and eventually make its way back to the ocean. But some of it will also soak into the ground and become part of groundwater reserves. That water is now part of a completely different system. It's no longer subject to the laws of physics that govern the stuff above ground. It's part of a subterranean world where all bets are off. It's like the difference between fresh water and salt water. Salt water can be evaporated to produce fresh water, but once that fresh water has been produced, it can't be turned back into salt water without adding more salt. So while the individual molecules may be the same, the properties of the water are completely different. And when groundwater becomes part of a rock formation, those properties are even more drastically altered. The process of water seeping into rocks and soil is called percolation. During percolation, water is filtered through layers of rock and soil, removing impurities and minerals such as calcium, magnesium, and sodium. This process can take years or even decades, but the result is water that is so pure it can be used in industrial processes requiring ultra-pure water, like the production of computer chips. Percolation also causes the water table to rise, which is great news for farmers who rely on groundwater to water their crops. But not all groundwater is created equal. Some of it is so pure it can be bottled and sold as drinking water. Other types are too polluted to drink, and yet others lie deep underground where it is too difficult or expensive to extract. In fact, some groundwater is so deep that it is under so much pressure that when a well is drilled into it, the water actually bubbles up to the surface without any pumping. This is called an artesian well, and it's a relatively rare phenomenon. In addition to being an awesome thing to witness, artesian wells provide a unique opportunity for scientists to study the chemical composition of deep ground by analyzing the gases dissolved in the water. Scientists can learn about the types of rocks and soils the water has come into contact with, as well as the temperature and pressure deep beneath the surface. They can also use this information to estimate how old the water is, because the longer water is in the ground, the more time it has to react with surrounding rocks and soil. So, what does all this mean for the question of whether or not water can be destroyed? It means that yes and no. Yes, in the sense that water can disappear from one place and reappear somewhere else. But no, in the sense that water cannot be created or destroyed. It's always there, even if we can't see it or access it. And that's why it's so important that we use water wisely. We can't afford to waste it, because unlike oil or coal or uranium, it's not something we can just dig out of the ground and burn to produce more of it. We have to use it as it comes from the sky, as a precious and finite resource that sustains all life on Earth. So the next time you turn on your tap and water flows from it, remember that every drop is a gift from the sky. Don't waste it! I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you want to help support the channel, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Man, I'm built different, period. I'm just built different, man. And I've always had an eye, discipline, and a work ethic that I've had at a young age that I just kind of